Yellow.
Well, citizen J, at last. I've been wondering if you had the guts to talk to me. I'm impressed. I hear you like scary movies. What fun, so do I. I find them very educational. It might give you a fighting chance to escape, but not much. What do you say, Jay? Let's play a game.
Okay.
I'll give you a head start. You've got 10 seconds. Go!
Think my fat ass can run?
Alright, do your intro bullshit.
I may have fucked my wife, but I'm also Eskimo brothers with my wife.
Most painful sexual experience.
Anal.
The fact that
You got an anal? Okay.
You know, this is the reason people hate me. It's because I'm real.
Okay.
Real douchey.
No, I'm...
And Miley Cyrus, you forgot her. But yeah.
I wish twerking caused cancer.
wouldn't that be some shit if they just like, alright, we're gonna put a cork in your dick, you're never gonna come again. You're just like, I'm frustrated.
I know you're not a classy guy, but have some class.
The show is called Hard to Swallow. Are you fucking kidding me?
I can't do this.
You don't have the app, so you can't talk like Ghostface, can you?
Not an app.
Who is this? Not an app. I'm kind of shocked they haven't used that as like a loophole in the future installments. Like, oh yeah, it's just a phone app now.
Yeah.
All right, Wiley, you are probably the next biggest Scream fan that I actually have ever spoken to. You're the only other one that knows all of the dumb bullshit that I know about this franchise.
I do know a lot, and so do you.
What's your ranking, not counting this one?
1, 2, 4, 5, 3.
Okay.
Would be my ranking. 1, 2, 4, 5, 3.
I can see
I
that.
love 3. I have no hate towards 3. It's not as intense. Well, except for the ending, of course.
I think I like 2 better, but I can clearly tell that 1's a better movie. Like, I still love 2. I think it's probably because it's the first one that I seen that got me into it. Not only the franchise, but it kind of got me into horror in general.
Oh, for sure. Scream is definitely a game breaker. Going into 2, after seeing the first one, I was like, how could you do anything to better the first one? And the second one is a great compliment to the first one.
Yeah, I remember pretty close together. Like, I was with my stepbrother in a hotel, and he was like, hey, we're going to order Scream 2 on pay-per-view. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And I remember sitting in a hotel room watching it going, I like this. I don't know why I like this. And then must have been around the same year, right, when I Know What You Did Last Summer came out?
Correct.
And I remember my dad meeting up with a friend of his, and he took me and this other guy's kid, and for some reason we went and saw that. And I remember sitting in the theater going, I like this too. I think I'm a horror guy now. So yeah, the 90s shit always has like a soft spot to me. But I think I would go, even though I recognize 1 is a better movie, I think favorite-wise I would go like 2, 1, 4, 3, 5. I do think 5 for me is the weakest.
I am not far off with my 5 in placement. I did my 5 in the 4th spot. 5 for me was just a good way to bring in the new blood.
I hated 3 when I saw it too, though, and that one kind of grew on me over the years. So that is one thing with these kind of movies. Sometimes the more you watch them, sometimes they grow. Well, when I remember I was so excited when it first was coming out, because I was already in love with 1 and 2 at that point, and I went to the theater and saw it, and I walked out of there going, what the fuck was that garbage? When they kind of start retconning shit and changing shit, and you're like...
Well, I definitely agree with you on that, except for I did like how intense the ending of 3 was. considering that the rest of the movie is pretty much a comedy, the end was pretty intense.
Well, yeah, when two of them almost actually died in the finale, so.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Lance Hendrickson, I guess, hit his head fucking hard when he got thrown down. And I guess Nev Campbell really stabbed fucking Scott Foley.
Yep.
They said his bulletproof vest or whatever, his padding slipped and she stabbed him. When he gets stabbed with that ice pick at the end of 3, that's a real fucking scream. That's some good acting. He said, "Ah, fuck!"
That wasn't acting. That for sure wasn't.
There is actually a video up on my channel where you and I discussed Scream 5 pretty soon after it came out, I think.
Uh-huh.
Whilst we played Friday the 13th. And I think we both had some mixed feelings on it. I know that the killer reveal was pretty fucking dumb to me. And the fact that, again, this is spoilers, so we did lose a legacy character in the last film that I did not agree with.
I agree with you on that as well.
You thought that they made him into a sad sack?
Oh, yeah, for sure. They made him... That's the worst thing. Him dying is not as bad as what they did to his character.
I just wanted him to be our Loomis. I think he would have been great to be the one that comes back again and again and again. Especially now that we've seen that we're not guaranteed Nev Campbell, as I think that we kind of assumed we would be. But if they don't want to pay up to get Nev Campbell back, you know what? I would have fucking loved to have Dewey in this new installment, but...
I agree. I definitely agree with that. But I do think if still going into 6, if one of the 3 had to die in the 5th one, it was Dewey. Because Gail is just... She's a powerhouse. And in my mind, Sydney is just untouchable. And should remain untouchable.
I would have personally chosen to get rid of Gale over Dewey in the last film, but that's just because Gale really didn't have much to do in the last film.
I agree.
After seeing this, I am glad she's here. First taste of walking out of that theater. What was the taste in your mouth tonight? You saw it twice. I saw it once at 5. It's Thursday the 9th. Or it was until a half hour ago. But you saw it at 5 and 7, right? Correct?
Yes, 5 o'clock for the fan event, and then left that and walked right into the 7 o'clock with my family.
Well, the fan event, they gave us a cool poster, the nice Times Square Ghostface poster. Did you get the opening with the fucking Reno 911 folks?
Yes.
That was fucking great. I was like, what the hell is this shit?
At first, I was like, wait, what am I watching? And then something clicked in my mind. I was like, I heard that there was a Reno 911.
Yeah, because they're Paramount.
Scream. Yeah.
Yeah, they're on. They had a new movie come out. I think the show's coming back on Paramount Plus as well. I think I heard that. I would say overall the fan event, not really worth it. They showed some stupid behind the scenes clips of almost kind of spoilery shit. I'm like, stop showing me shit before I see the movie, you assholes.
You know, with me going and not watching any of the trailers.
And then they just show you the trailer right before you watch the fucking movie.
The people sitting next to me must have thought I was like crazy because
you're hiding your eyes and shit.
And I'm in and stick my fingers in my. I mean, I must have looked ridiculous because I'm like, I didn't go this whole time without watching one single trailer, and then here it comes. And then I also knew that they were going to show clips of the movie in the Demi Lovato music video that played beforehand, and I couldn't watch that either. So I just looked down the whole.
I thought about that because I've been talking to you for a week or so, and you were literally like, "I'm not going to watch any trailers," and then they immediately are like, "Hey, watch this."
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Figures would work out like that, but I didn't look at any of it, so it was all pretty much a surprise.
Well, after 5, my expectations were pretty low going to this one. I was so hyped, I think, for the last one that I was like, oh, I think I ruined it for myself with my hype. So I tried to keep my expectations in line here, especially when, you know, we got Gale back. We got Kirby, who came back from part 4, who we all saw the little Easter egg in the last one, which was one of the better Easter eggs.
Yeah, Kirby.
Were you happy to have Kirby back?
I was... thrilled to have Kirby back.
Yeah, I can hear it in your voice. I was thrilled. Yeah. Okay.
And then I wasn't. And then I was thrilled again. And then I wasn't thrilled again. It was a roller coaster. Kirby was a roller coaster for me. But
well, should we start with the opening of the film? I actually guessed the opening kill from the trailers, so you probably would have as well. The moment I saw that she never changed outfits, she never had a different outfit on the whole fucking trailer, so I don't even remember if she had a line in the fucking trailer.
Oh, was she in the second trailer?
She was in at least one of them, yeah. You see her in the alleyway looking around all scared, and I was like, oh, she's the opening kill. Because, I mean, Samara Weaving is big enough now. And it's funny, when I met Roger Jackson, it must have been a year or two ago, before they announced she was in it, I think one of the things I said to him was like, oh, it'd be cool if they got Samara in there, you know, having been in Ready or Not. And he kind of looked at me, and he was like, yeah, that would be cool. I wonder if he fucking already knew.
Probably in talk. Well, she was, you know, she was in talks to be in 5, so it makes sense that she was in 6.
Yeah, I think she's probably just a little bit too old to have been in the friend group, probably.
And that's what I keep on thinking to myself as well. Coming into this new movie, I thought she was going to play somebody else's sibling from the first one. So that changed my mind when I first saw the opening. When the movie started, I was like, oh, not playing that character. So.
Scream, the only franchise that cares more about family than the Fast and Furious movies.
Correct.
Family, it's all about family. I'm like, shut the fuck up with your goddamn family. Anyway, so yeah, Samara comes in. They do a interesting thing that I kind of wish they had stuck with in the opening, where we get an immediate unmasking.
Yeah. That was kind of like, huh? What was fun about it is because you were expecting the title card to come up, and then no title card came up, and I'm like, what the fuck? And there was the reveal. I'm like, oh, okay. And then the process went automatically into what I knew was going to happen next. And I was correct when
he gets back to the house. Well, the one thing I thought with this actor too is I could be crazy, and again, you didn't watch the trailers, but I'm pretty sure this actor who pulls the fucking Ghostface mask off is in more scenes in the trailer. So I wonder if he was like planted in other shots to throw people off, because I thought he was going to be more of a role based on the trailer.
My mind went instantly when he took that mask off. I was like, oh, he's the main kill for the opening, because the real Ghostface is going to kill him.
For a second, I thought maybe like they're shooting a movie. Maybe it's like, because they talked like film school. I was like, oh, are they doing like a meta film school thing? And then I kind of, which I was hoping would be the case, is that they would just show you maybe one of the Ghostface in the beginning, and you wouldn't know maybe the other one. And then throughout the movie, you would know this guy's involved and who else is involved. You don't know. I would have liked that a lot. I would have liked something different like that, but no, we don't get that.
See, it's funny. It's funny you say that, because like I thought another thing I thought that beginning opening scene was going to be a movie set based off of something from a stab movie. And that I also did as well think that it was in a cut. And then once it didn't cut, I was like, okay, this is going to be, and he revealed who he was. I knew how it was going to be. But when I watched the original first Scream and Case Becker dies, and then it pan to Neve Campbell, Sydney, and she's sitting there typing on her computer. I was like, oh, she's just writing a little screenplay for school or something. But and then for it to be that actual way. So that, for me, was the first Scream. I thought what you thought for this one.
Well, how brazen, too. It's like probably no city in the world has more fucking cameras on every goddamn street corner, and he just pulls the mask off in front of the corpse and just changes clothes and walks off into the street, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like at some
That was
point
definitely-
it would be like the camera definitely caught you. Definitely caught you.
In New York, the whole New York thing was just a horrific representation of New York, in my opinion. I lived in New York for 14 years. I grew up in New York, and I don't ever remember an alleyway being like that. I mean, maybe in the 80s they were like that, but I don't remember a single alleyway in New York City. There might be one like that. I've never seen anything like that, though.
When he gets back to his apartment, you had a lot of little Easter eggs, like the fact that he's watching Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan, which I thought was a nice little Easter egg, especially including that the fact that they both shot in Canada.
Loved it. I love that little tidbit there.
The poster on the wall was for one of my favorite podcasts, Last Podcast on the Left.
Which one? Last
He has
Podcast on the Left.
He has 3 posters on the wall. I think it was Vertigo, Stab, and a poster for a podcast called Last Podcast on the Left. It's a true crime podcast that I love.
That sounds interesting.
So, what did you think of the rest of the opening there? With the he's talking on the phone with someone he thinks is his friend, who's also going to be a killer.
Yeah, that I thought that was very interesting as well. I was like, so here's already a set of roommates that are in the same town as these 2 sisters that escaped Woodsboro and the Ghostface killings, and just happen to have 2 roommates that are going to do, I guess, pick up the mantle and try and do their own thing. So that just sets up a lot of opportunity in the future for just anybody to pick up like anyone with no connections to the past could pick up Ghostface. And
well, as she says in her Gail later says in her phone call, 9 people have played fucking Ghostface, and after this movie, boy does that number jump up.
Not gonna be 9. A lot.
Oh god. So yeah, I thought this was a little strange. I like that it's now folding in on itself. Like, oh no, your Ghostface ain't good enough, so I'm Ghostface. I'm gonna kill you first. Like what? Okay.
Yeah.
It had a little bit of the part 4 opening with the stab shit kind of going on. You're like, okay.
A lot of the vibe throughout the whole movie I got Scream 2. Especially.
Well, that's obviously what they're going for. They blatantly say it multiple times too.
It was a nice. I think I felt more of a throwback to 2 than there was in 5 with 1.
Well, yeah, 5 didn't have its footing. I don't think 5 understood quite yet. This one made me feel like they understood a little more the vibe and the tongue-in-cheek subtlety, whereas the last one to me felt very forced.
Probably very scared to fuck with the original grouping of movies.
Well, even down to the fact that they're like, isn't it cool that we're back at Stu's house? It's gotta end at Stu's house. Like, okay. I mean,
very forced. It was cool if it wasn't already spoiled in, the trailers beforehand and just putting 2 and 2 together. But it was the house at the end of 5 was a nice little touch. But I will definitely say that I'm sure I said a lot about Samantha last year and how much I hated her character. I will definitely say I've changed my mind on Samantha.
We both said last time that we hope she's the opening kill in Scream 6. We both were like, please kill her in the opening. We're done with her. Yeah. And I will say,
I'm sure I said more than that. I'm sure I said some horrible things.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to use the word redeemed herself in this movie, but she's definitely more palatable. And I would say that's mainly because of the core 4, as they call them, the returning newbies here. Mindy, I wanted to watch her die so bad.
You wanted to what?
I wanted to watch Mindy die badly in this movie. She annoyed me in the last one too, But this one, she amped up to fucking irritating.
Oh, that scene out in the school courtyard. Yeah. That was a bit much. Well, that was a park, wasn't it? Something like that. That was a bit much.
They were literally
How long
trying
it went on
to.
for.
They were trying to take the scene from part 2 where Randy gets killed, and they and they literally say that. And of course, that's the thing is, sometimes these movies go a little bit hard, but for some reason, when Randy told me the rules, I bought them. When this little woman tells me the rules, I don't believe a fucking word she's saying. She sounds like she's spouting nonsense. There was something about the way he worded it that made it so interesting, and it felt fresh at the time, but maybe just because we're 25 years into this franchise now, you're just like, shut the fuck up.
Well, then, he also knew his shit.
Yeah.
But back then, there wasn't, who ever really listened to the horror geek? There wasn't something to base these things off of.
Yeah, how old would this girl and her brother have been when their uncle was killed? Because they talk about him like they hung out every day for 20 years. She was probably fucking 5 years old and don't remember a goddamn thing about him. But it's always Uncle Randy this and Uncle Randy that. Like, you don't fucking remember that motherfucker. Shut up.
Weren't even born.
Well, yeah, it's like their mother was in part 3. You're telling me she did. Right. So how the fuck? Why are they always talking about fucking Randy like they fucking hung out with him and watched horror movies for all these years? It just didn't happen.
Yeah. Also, her dialogue felt kind of refreshing in 5, but it just sounded forcing new things. Like, now we have to call this, the Killers are a franchise, and last year it was a requel, and it's no longer a requel, now it's a franchise. So,
yeah, the original Scream is a commentary on horror films. The second one's a commentary on sequels. Third's for trilogies. 4 was for remakes, back when those were all the rage. And then 5, the requel, which is, the sequel to the reboot sequels. And now it's franchise. And literally, all they're exploring is the fact that we don't need Sydney. They're going, okay, you can bring back all these franchises without the original leads. And I think it's just their way of covering, hey, Sydney's gone. Don't hate us.
Exactly. Just say, we can still make it on our own, and we can still have fun, but we don't need Sydney. Sorry, I keep on saying Sydney.
I think she spoiled another franchise for me because she says something about James Bond dying, and I was like, when did James Bond die? Does he die in the last Bond movie? I haven't seen that one yet.
I think every time a Bond dies, another Bond comes and replaces him. So I'm guessing that's James Bond. I don't know if I'm correct, because I just watched it not that long ago. He doesn't die, but he fakes his own death.
She says Jigsaw. I'm like, bitch, he died in the third one. They still made 7 more movies with him. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I fucking hate that shit, too.
It took me a while to realize what they meant when they said Nancy Thompson. I'm like, wait, she didn't die in the first one.
The third one,
she
yeah.
Did die in the third one, yeah. Which still sucks.
Actually, I think the character that redeemed the most for me was probably Chad. I actually liked him a lot in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was very genuine, very real, especially compared to a lot of the other Mindy's of the movie. I liked him a lot, and I kind of liked that they throw in a little romance blooming with him and Jenna, Tara.
I liked that as well, for sure. It was a nice little surprise when that happened. I was like, okay, I can dig that. I felt the relationship with Mindy and her girlfriend was just a little bit forced, but it was okay.
And again, we are in spoiler territory, so when bad things happen to Mindy's gal, she moves on pretty quick. She don't really give a shit. Like one scene later, it's all jokey joke again. So because she's got to spout so much fucking exposition to keep the movie rolling, that you're like, shut the fuck up. So yeah, they're all in New York. I mean, And you think it probably wasn't too hard to convince all of them to move to New York when all of their friends were murdered, I guess. That would be, if it was any other movie, I'd be like, oh, all of them just went to the same college, but I guess that makes sense if their friends are all dead. They're like, hey, let's start anew.
Let's stick together. I guess stuff like that gives, they have a bond. Family. As
and I guess
they're family now.
Yeah, fucking Dom. He should have showed up in this movie. Family. Fucking Vin Diesel just shows up. He's racing down the streets of fucking New York. Family. But I guess it gives him a good reason to hang out with Gail again, since we've established that she's still in New York in the last film.
Yeah, I love
that
Gail.
poster they gave us has the name of her show on the poster. Did you see that?
I didn't get it. It's in my trunk right now.
So the picture is of Times Square, and it's like a Good Morning America type billboard for her morning show that she had in the last movie. I didn't really get the idea that she still does that show in this movie, did you?
I mean, I'm sure she's still doing both. Writing books and doing that. I mean, why wouldn't she? I hope she is. I mean, they don't give anything really detail-oriented about her in this.
No, they simply de-evolve her, because in the last film we kind of got to see a little bit of the sentimental side of Gail, and then they just completely revert her back to being a bitch again.
I loved it.
I mean, yeah, I was okay with it, but it was a little weird that they're like, at the end of the last film, how she's like, oh, write a book about Dewey. I'm not, fuck these guys. I'm not doing a book on this. And this one, she's just like, yeah, I fucking did it. Suck my dick. I don't give a fuck. You're like, what? Okay.
History repeats.
And I think they only did it because they want to. Remember when Sydney punched her? Oh, she's gonna get punched again. Like, yeah, we remember that.
So she's been punched 1, 2, 3. Did she get punched in 3? No.
No, because her and Sydney doesn't really come together until the end of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
people don't remember how little screen time Sydney had in 3. She probably had more screen time in 5 than 3.
Barely, I'm sure. I mean, thank God she was a big portion of the end of 3 because there was nothing else for her.
Well, I guess that's a good.
I fall in love with so much.
You fell in love with what?
Fallen in much love with Gail is because she did, pick up some pace in the second movie and picked up a lot of the pace in the third movie.
I think 2 has like most of my favorite moments in the whole franchise. And a lot of those do include Gail. Like, I love the scene in the park where Randy gets it. And I think that chase through the sound rooms, the sound stages.
Perfect.
I think that is one of the best fucking chase scenes in any horror film I've ever seen. When again, Dewey gets fucking shish kebabbed in the soundproof room. Yeah, I thought that was fucking awesome.
Yep. Stepping on a rat trap with pizza attached to it or something like that?
Yeah, he stepped on a slice of pizza, I think. Yeah. But I guess a good question would be, did you miss Sydney in this film?
No. Would I have loved her have been there? Yes. Did I miss her? I mean, do I miss her not being in it? Yes. Am I fine with her not being in it? Yes.
Yeah. I thought there would be more of a hole in my heart with her not here, but really, the movie's got such a good pace that even the stuff I didn't like, I kind of forgave a lot because it just kind of hits the ground running. Because it's like a 2-hour long movie. Wasn't it about 2 hours?
It was 2 hours and 3 minutes, I think.
I mean, I think the second one's pretty long too. I think 3 was more around 90, I want to say, but I feel like 2 is pretty close to 2 hours.
2 is long. 5 is at 1 hour and 54 minutes, something like that, and this one is at just over 2.
I did not feel the time in this one. I felt like it went by pretty quick though. I never got bored in this movie, I don't think.
I agree. There was a time in the movie I was like, this movie is a long movie. I was like, when's it going to get... I was like, if all this is going on, I can imagine how the ending is going to be. because it was pretty fast paced throughout the whole. There was really not any lulls. I think the biggest lull was when Mindy was having her little speech. For me, was the biggest lull.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you watch like Halloween Kills, you're like, wow, this movie's fucking rapid fire. And then you get to that weird 25-minute breaks fucking scene in the middle of the hospital where you're dealing with fucking dude, weirdo fucking jumping off the reel. Like, wow, you really ground this movie to a halt for this bullshit in a Halloween movie? You're like, really? If you cut that shit out, that movie would be pretty fucking, well paced.
Would have been really good. I still love kills, but that's another time because there's talk of ends and then I just get upset still.
They do mention Sydney though. What does she say? Like her and Mark took the kids and went somewhere. And...
She goes. Sydney sends her love, and then Tara asks, "Is she coming?" And she's like, "No." She took Mark and the kids, and she deserves deserves a happy ending. I was like, okay, well.
She wasn't wasting her time sharing for you motherfuckers. Fuck you guys. They haven't completely confirmed that her husband Mark is Kincaid, but I think the fans have all decided that it is. I've never seen the writers or director confirm that. Have you?
I like to believe it is. But she took some time to get over her demons before she decided to settle down. That's how I like to think of it. But I'm sure after 3 and then 4, her family demons pulled her down.
Her and old Sam sure do got a lot of comments like, everyone's gonna want you dead, even your own family, for no fucking reason. She's like, yeah, my mom was a whore. My dad didn't care enough to stick around. After the first time he got tied up, he's like, fuck this, I'm out. So I understand about your mother, Sam and Tara's mother. They just don't give a fuck. I like that they referenced that finally. They're like, oh, where's your... Gail's like, where's your mom and all this? And she's like, whatever. She don't give a fuck.
To me, like, she's living her own life right now. She does not care. Kids are grown. I'm out the door.
Oh, do you remember one of my biggest complaints is how in the last movie was she kept literally the whole fucking movie. Just because my dad was a killer doesn't mean I'm a killer. And they keep like, oh, your dad this, your dad that, your dad was a killer. Never fucking once did anyone go, yeah, and your fucking grandmother as well, by the way.
Yeah.
You're fucking great. You made such a big fucking deal about your daddy being a fucking killer. It's like, yeah, his mom also fucking murdered a bunch of people, including your Uncle Randy. My best friend's uncle was murdered by my grandmother. You stupid fuck. And they never mention it. Finally, in this one, there's one fucking line that they mention it.
Yep.
Even though the first 10 times they mention daddy, they never mention grandma. Even when she's standing in front of the fucking costumes in the goddamn shrine room, she never once looks at grandma's robe and goes, oh yeah.
Yeah, I loved the trophy room.
Yeah, the shrine is in the trailer, and it is pretty outstanding. I just wish they had saved it for a better killer reveal. that made more sense.
For maybe like a cult.
Right.
For maybe if it was like a cult and not just like one person buying all this for their...
The shrine is one of the coolest things in this movie, and it really does not feel like it belongs in this movie for any reason. But I love it.
It kind of gave me like Saw vibes in a way.
Yeah, and I don't want to say who the killer is yet. We'll get there, but yeah, I think it does lead you to be like, oh, this is a legacy character maybe coming back, and I think that the shrine shit is really cool if it had played into the reveal of the killer at all, which it does not. It really doesn't pertain to them in any fucking way. But
yeah, I agree. If they would have ended there and they stumbled upon the shrine, I think that would have been cool. instead of already knowing about it, which is all kind of confusing in a way to me, like how access is allowed to this place, and that's movie magic, I guess you're supposed to forget about.
And that's what I was saying when I was like, oh, this movie moves so fast that they really don't want you to think about any of those little things. Yeah, don't think, just move along. What? Oh, what'd they say? Oh, nothing. Just, oh, look, someone died. Oh, cool. Blood. I like it. I don't feel like as much of this movie was wasted as it was last time.
They use every opportunity they can, and it definitely shows. What did you think of the bodega scene?
Yeah, well, Ghostface in general in this one literally does not give a fuck. He is just on the street. Tara and Sam at one point are just chilling on the street, and they get the Ghostface call, and fucking this motherfucker just jumps out of a bush in the middle of the fucking street. People everywhere, and chases these bitches into the bodega. Unfortunately, this scene is heavily featured in the trailer, and there's really not much new to it that they add in the actual movie. Yeah, almost the entire scene is in the trailer, which it did get me hyped.
Oh, really?
When you see fucking Ghostface with a shotgun, that was fucking badass. But yeah, this, like we said, you didn't watch the trailer. This whole fucking scene is spoiled in the trailer.
The teaser trailer was enough for me. The teaser trailer was...
Well, that was the subway?
Yeah, I thought that was...
And
so
again,
powerful.
almost that whole scene is in that teaser.
Yeah, it plays out differently, but...
Barely.
Yeah.
Barely.
I thought the subway train ride was just a bit too long. That was a scene that could have been shortened a little bit, I think. In my opinion.
I am kind of confused at how rights work for showing all these other studios monsters, because which you warned me not to, but I watched it, and it's literally one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, was fucking Jeepers Creepers Reborn. And that movie is also full of like costumed people dressed as like other studios' monsters, like your Pinheads and your Beetlejuice and all kinds of shit. This movie is packed full of that on the train. Like you see Pinhead and Michael Myers and the characters from Us and shit. Like, I wonder if they consider that all parody, if they're just allowed to do that. Because it seems weird that a Paramount movie could just have somebody it looked like a licensed Michael Myers mask.
It looked like a remake of a remake.
Well, I think it was a real like buy at a Halloween USA mask, but it just looked weird because it didn't fit the person's head. You know what I mean? It was oversized for their head or something.
Maybe if they just stored it, because I love the Pinhead. That Pinhead look was pretty cool. Maybe if it's not so accurate.
Yeah, it's just weird.
I was thinking that as well. I was like, wow, they must really have a lot of tie-ins or paid licensing to whoever makes those masks.
Those are all different studios, though, and that's why I thought that in Reborn too, Jeepers Creepers Reborn, because I'm like, these are all different studios. There's no, and especially that movie, there's no fucking way that movie had any budget to pay anybody for anything.
Had no money.
Their entire budget went to Dee Wallace, and she only charges $40 a day. So,
I'd like to know what she was thinking, because she's way better than that.
No, she's not. She did one good movie, E.T., and then she did a million pieces of shit for fucking 40 years.
I love her in Halloween 2007.
You're out of your fucking mind. You're out of your fucking mind.
Love her.
You shut your whore mouth right now. There's nothing good about that movie.
But she is good about that. She's the only thing good about that movie.
Oh, all she does is fucking watch Scout finger a donut and then get stabbed. That's all she fucking does that whole fucking movie. I don't want to hear your bullshit. If Dee Wallace showed up in this movie, I would have walked out.
Oh my, really? Well, E.T., I mean, you did say it. E.T. is a great movie, though.
E.T., is one of the greatest movies ever. And she's in it, and she got real fucking lucky, and then she did a lot of garbage.
Didn't she do Falling?
Did she do anything for $12? Yeah, probably.
So there's a lot about this movie that I'm still like trying to process. Like things keep flashing through, like missed opportunities or overstepping some boundaries, and I'm still trying to.
Again, you didn't watch the trailer, but they did the same thing as last trailer. Remember in the Scream 5 trailer when Dewey goes, "Something just feels different about this one."
Yep.
And then it was the same old shit. And then the trailer for this one, when Ghostface calls Gail, which I don't think it's in the actual movie, correct me if I'm wrong, but he said in the trailer, "I'm something different."
Yes, because he does say that in the trailer, because that's the only thing I went to go watch the movie a couple weeks ago, and that was the only thing I heard while humming out the rest of the trailer was "I'm something different."
Guess what?
And
he's not. He's not something different this time either. Every fucking movie, they're just going to put it in the trailer to get you all excited. "I'm something different. Oh, this one just feels different." There's nothing fucking different at all about these fucking killers in either of those movies.
Yeah. But they're a little bit more brutal, but...
Well, everyone kept saying that this is the most brutal Ghostface, and he is, but I wouldn't say he's... I think Part 4's got more brutality than this one does.
Oh, yeah. Olivia,
even
for sure.
Part 1, when he fucking guts the first victim, guts him right in the fucking thing. He's tied to a goddamn chair, and his guts are pouring out. Casey gets fucking the shit stabbed out of her and strung up on a goddamn tree.
Strung up from a fucking wing.
But yeah, Olivia in Part 4, man, he's flinging her guts across the room and shit. And you're like, holy fuck. Well, someone in one of the reviews said, like in 5, like, "Oh my god, he stabbed her through the hand. That's the craziest thing we've ever seen." I'm like, he did that in 4. He did that in 4. Yeah, he fucking did it to Olivia in Part 4. Like, what are you talking about? There was one weird. They have all in the Kirby scene in the police station. They have all the killers up, and they're going through all the fucking killers. And she says Roman was the only one who did it by himself, like overachiever. I'm like, no, he literally spelled out the fact that he's put Billy and Stu up to it. How's that working alone? What the fuck is it?
Well, she's meaning in the Stab 3.
No, because she says no one cares about the movies. She says...
No, you're right. But the killings that happened during the production of Stab 3. Not the movies, but the killings during Stab 3.
But she says, yeah, her line is something like he was the only one to work alone or something. And you're like, no, not technically, but I guess, it's almost like they're relying so much on the lore of the franchise, which is, I feel like something more we as fans should be doing as opposed to them telling us what to rely on.
That's where a lot of the Force stuff comes upon about this movie.
So yeah, when she's like, or he's like, I'm the new Randy. You're like, we understand. Stop dumbing it down and telling us. Yeah, we get it, Charlie. Thank you. Or like in this one, when Mindy's literally in the van, they're in the park. This is literally how our uncle died. Yeah, we get it.
Just like that.
If you let us discover those things for ourselves, guess what? It means more to us.
It's more of like a gentle nod would be good than a push, and they're pushing.
I hated her so much in this movie that I was like, if you're trying to be Scream 2, you gotta kill Randy. Fuck off, Mindy. Time to die. Like, please kill this bitch.
Yeah. We got saved by the bell on that one.
Well, and that's the thing is, what do they call that? Like, plot armor. It's like, when it's someone who's not a main character, Ghostface stabs them 20 times in a second. when it's the main character, he stabs him once and stares at him until somebody shows up to save the day. You're like, what? If you literally want these people dead, why are you wasting fucking time?
Just do it. Just do it. Did you know? Are we jumping ahead? Did you know who the killers were?
I did. I guessed one because if it wasn't him, I was already laughing at his poor acting. I guess are we far enough into where we can spoil the killer? Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, we could talk about Kirby. Well, let's do Kirby first because I want to hear your thoughts on Kirby because I'm sure mine are going to be different than yours. What is your take on her coming back?
I love Hayden Panettiere. I'm glad to see her back. I was a little thrown off by the fact that she's just in the FBI all of a sudden. And acting like a cartoon cop. I don't really quite understand. Her personality didn't feel the same. I mean, I guess obviously people change over that many years, but yeah, I don't know why they chose to make her a cop, unless perhaps they're going to move her forward, and which in that case I would be possibly okay with if she becomes maybe the Dewey.
There you go. I think that could be plausible.
It does help to have an officer kind of entangled in the story, because a lot of these, if you don't, you go, where the fuck are the cops? You know what I mean? Like
the cops. There was parts of this movie with the cops I was just fucking laughing at. I was, what do you like? You're joking. When Brandy, when Chad has Ethan up against the van, interrogating him, the cops are just looking at him like, oh, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead. Rough him up. Like, in the background, you can literally watch the cops looking around at him like nothing's happening. Like, it's nothing.
The cops in 5 were some of the dumbest fucking cops ever, dude.
I mean, just don't even bother showing the cops at this point, because...
Unless it's Dewey. Even Dewey got his ass whooped with a fucking bedpan. He was a fucking sheriff. Like, what?
Yeah, just don't show any more cops. And then here's Kirby, an FBI agent who has her feet up on the desk, wearing Frankenstein boots and a leather jacket, gun hanging out. I'm like, what is going on here? She literally looked like, well, her face popped on the screen. I was like, is that Ellen Barkin?
No, you know what I got? I got
Barkin,
Bride of Chucky.
Hayden Panettiere wearing that can as well, wearing Ellen Barkin's face pumped up. I'm like, this. Why does she look this way? I feel so bad for her. She's such a beautiful girl. Whatever she did to her face.
She's literally. She's literally Jennifer Tilly in Bride of Chucky with that haircut and the leather.
Yep, I'm glad you pointed that out because now I'm not going to be able to unsee that.
Especially, I think it's when she goes to doll form. She has the exact same haircut, like, right? The fucking like weird bouffant looking thing. I didn't mind her look as much, but she literally feels like she's from a parody of a cop show. You know what I mean?
When she's like, I'm 30 years old, I'm like...
I was like, that is it? I thought she was older than me, but apparently not.
No, she's probably like 34, I think, or 33, something like that, around there. But she's like, I'm 30 years old.
And they say that she was a senior when Sam was a freshman.
Which makes Sam 26, which now makes Tara 21, which only last year she was 18. And like, I'm trying to figure out the age difference between... I was thinking about that today, Sam and Tara. I thought it was 5 years, but 5 years doesn't seem right. When rewatching Scream 5 today, I was like, 5 years doesn't seem right. She's got to be older than that. So, who knows? Because the timing with if she would be 24, 25 years old in 5, right? because 25 years ago is when Scream came out, and that's when Billy died. So she had to be. I don't know. I don't want to get too far into it. Back into Kirby though, but my roller coaster, like I brought up earlier, my roller coaster with her was when she wasn't in a official capacity. I liked her when she's with the core four. I loved her. Anything cop related, I was not feeling her.
Well, it just didn't feel like it was authentic to her. I guess if you survived a massacre, maybe you might find some kind of, interest in police work. I just don't feel like, based on her character in 4, that she would have gone on to the FBI.
Yeah.
Not even just a cop, to the fucking FBI. That's an extra step or two that I feel like it's got to be difficult to even probably get in the FBI by 30, right? I feel like there's a few more credentials you got to get, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like when you see a judge who's like 20, you're like, no. I don't think so. I don't think that happens. It was like on Night Court, the joke was the fact that he was the youngest judge ever, and he was like, 35 years old. It's like, I think the FBI takes a little extra work, but I don't know for sure.
I don't either. But it's movie magic. You're not supposed to think about those things.
Yeah, the police all felt terrible. I've seen this. What's that guy's name? The main cop here?
Oh, Dermot Mulroney.
I've seen him in other shit, and I never minded him.
Oh,
he's fucking horrible in this movie.
He's in one of my favorite movies, which I'm sure if you've ever watched, you probably hate it, and if you haven't watched it, it's fine. It's a good movie. Oh shit! I just Point of No Return with Bridget Fonda. It's like one of those '90s movies. But
his acting felt so fucking bad in this movie.
He's the groom in My Best Friend's Wedding.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
And after that, I don't know anything else he's been in.
His acting was horrible. I don't know why he was so bad in this, because he just felt. I feel like he was honestly making a choice that just didn't work. Like I feel like his bad acting was on purpose.
He was just not the right fit, in my opinion. Same thing with I'm gonna go look at his name right now because I don't know it off the top of my head. Henry Sursney. His acting was a little over the top as well. I was like,
which one's he?
He's the psychiatrist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting his acting to be that way either. I was just like, a little taken back by that.
One of the cooler kills in the movie.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, that was
the introduction of his character and just how he played it out. I was just like, it's a little overkill, buddy.
Did he say anything? Because again, this would have been probably a point where the rules would come into play and would have made a fun mention. And I think in that moment they don't say anything about don't open the door. He didn't have to fucking open the door. He still got fucked up.
Yep.
Now a reference don't open the door. I feel like they say in one of them, or at least one of the trailers that was there. Don't answer the phone. Don't open the door. Don't run upstairs. That I do like the quick, brutal, like in the last one, the quick stab to the throat and just watch the guy bleed. I thought that was great. And there is something like weird and sadistic about it. This one gave me the kind of that vibe. I liked that. Although he died pretty quick.
Real quick. I mean, who wouldn't? But, well, any of the other 4 survivors, so, I mean.
Yeah, some people in this fucking movie are goddamn pincushions and just walk away. I'm like, what the fuck? You get stabbed like 15 times and it's like, what?
I was I was the first person to laugh. The first showing I went to, I was the first person to laugh at the end, and then everyone else just started laughing because it was just fucking ridiculous.
I think there's 4 people who get a knife to the gut in this, and half of them are just like, hey, I'm good. No big deal.
Yeah. I mean, look at Sydney and Gail at the end of 5. Well, we're fine. This is a walk in the park. This is a normal day for us.
I'm just glad they didn't do Gail dirty again when she shows up like, I'm here. Boom. Oh, I'm dead. Never mind. I'm shot. Oh, I'm good. You guys have fun in the rest of the movie without me.
Yep. Didn't have anything to add to the whole movie. Didn't have anything to add at the end of it. So she really was nothing in 5.
Anybody can watch the Scream franchise and go, yeah, I could take a big ass hunting knife to the gut and be fine. Sydney's been stabbed in the stomach like every fucking movie almost.
Every movie. Every movie.
At some point, I feel like your scar tissue on scar tissue on scar tissue ain't gonna work no more, but...
Dude's been stabbed so many times, he went from a limp to not having a limp.
He got stabbed back to normal. They fucking reattached the nerves on the 8th stab.
They did him a favor.
Holy shit.
Going into talk about the reveals, I knew who 2 of them were pretty much from the get-go. The third one threw me for a loop. The second reveal, because we already know who the first one is because he walks in, but the first of the unmasking was the one I did not get.
So yeah, I got old Dermot Mulroney solely based on the way he reacted when he walked out when his daughter was killed. His acting was so atrocious that I was literally like, either this guy is the worst actor I've ever seen, or he's faking it. And I was so fucking thrilled when he was revealed. I was like, oh, he's not the worst actor I've ever seen. Okay. Because otherwise, like, the way when he was in the alley, he just was so fucking awkward. And I'm like, this is not how you would react if you just found your fucking daughter dead. 2, if I was the fucking investigating officer on a fucking case where you know this woman's a target, don't you think you would move your fucking daughter out of that dorm or that apartment?
Yep. In a heartbeat.
The fact that he left his daughter there, I was like, okay, that's either, again, you're the worst father ever, or you're involved. I did not suspect the daughter necessarily.
She was my first one, which then made me think of the second one.
Now, in the opening kill, when Samara is on the phone with the guy first before it's Ghostface voice, was he using a different voice, or was that actor's voice?
That was that actor's voice.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if at first I was like, oh, are they going to do the Scream 3 thing again where they have a different voice modulator, different voices?
Because you hear like the tiniest little bit of a fumble when he's switching it over to the voice thingamabob or whatever.
Oh, they'll do like the little feedback noise. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could hear it switch over, and I was like, the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
And I didn't pay attention enough because I didn't know he was gonna fucking rip his mask off in the next fucking part, so I didn't listen to the voice that closely. So then I was like, wait, is he using somebody else's voice like Roman did in 3? And that kind of made me think about if somebody would fake their death because Roman did. So I was like, oh, maybe they're setting up. They're talking a lot about 2. Maybe the loophole is going to be we're playing more with 3. Because at first I was like, oh, different voice changer. But okay, so is that same actor's voice?
Yeah.
Okay, and you've seen it twice, so I'm trusting your judgment. So I did kind of think one of these people are faking their death, but I didn't think it was her.
Oh, she gave it away when she
talked about her dead brother. Yeah, that was dumb.
I knew. It took me back to Urban Legend.
It took me back to Vin Diesel. Family.
Oh,
family.
Well, yeah. But when she brought up her brother, I was like, "You are a killer." And then
it did feel very forced.
And then to find out that her dad was a police officer, that's when I knew he, as well, was a killer. I got thrown for two times he did something that made me think he wasn't. And that's when he was at work and said, hey, get me some info on Kirby. Mm-hmm. And when he was acting real silly after they took off in the cop car, I was like, oh, surely he's not the killer. Maybe
well, and again, I think that's kind of a bad movie writing moment when he says that to the other random cop, right, in the office, get me some info on Kirby, dig up whatever you can on Kirby. Now, if he had said that in front of one of our leads, that would be like, oh, okay, he's playing the game to make them think he's suspicious of Kirby, especially when at the end, that's what he tries to do, is he's like, get out of there, Kirby's gone, she was fired or whatever. She's off her rocker. But he doesn't. He says it to some random cop that's even off screen, right? You don't even see who the fuck he's talking to.
Which is, they do that in this movie. They do off screen. They do things off screen to make you change your mind. Whereas in other movies, they're like, okay, that you have to be the killer because you're making it so obvious. Mm. So I felt like they were doing things like that to make you think.
Well, and that's why his other son I didn't necessarily suspect, because every one of these movies will push somebody on you. Like the first film, the genius of it was that they tell you the whole movie, it's Billy, it's Billy, it's Billy, and then it is Billy. And that subverts your expectations. But then they do that in a lot of the other sequels as well. So when they kept pushing this other kid, I was like, oh, they're just doing the same thing. Because they even do it with Richie in part 5. Mm-hmm. It's Richie, it's Richie, it's Richie. And then it's Richie. And you go, okay, now they're playing into part 1, but then when they do it in this one, I was like, oh, they're not going to fucking do it again, are they? That would be kind of dumb. And then they do it again. Mindy literally calls him Ghostface like 5 times.
Oh, yeah. Straight up. But with the dad, the police officer, how he did that off-screen thing, it's what he did on-screen that made me diverted my thought into thinking that he was a killer. When he's like, hey, get help, get help, get help. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess he's not the killer. So that's the only thing that threw me for him. But I also am not shocked that he was the killer, because I think they took advantage of the fact that he's an avatar and they wanted to get someone with some new up and coming hot star.
He looks like fucking Evan Peters from American Horror Story. Yeah. That's what I thought it was for the first half of the fucking movie. I feel like I was like, he looks younger. That's weird.
That would have been a slap in Emma Roberts.
Wasn't he? Didn't he have a real? Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't he have a real tumultuous relationship with her or something?
He sure did.
Which I was like, oh, that'd be kind of an ironic little thing to. But I honestly, I stick by what I was hoping would happen after we discussed the last film. I kind of wish there was no killer reveal, or maybe one killer reveal, and then there was a killer left on the loose, because we already know we're getting 7. Now you get to come up with another bullshit familial connection to some random ass thing. It's like, why couldn't you just leave something on the table so that you don't have to keep making up nonsense?
I agree. And that would have been nice. It would have been nice for there to be one more. There was just when Chad, quote unquote, gets killed.
Again, this is turning into a Marvel movie where no one can fucking die anymore.
Both of them wipe their blades at the same time. They are exactly the same height. They're exactly the same build. I'm just like, why do y'all do this? You had the opportunities to throw in somebody that could have been in 5, that filled in those gaps of how did Amber kill these people? How did they did the same thing with this movie as well? They just
the girl sitting next to me, she goes, "It's Kirby." And I was like, Kirby's fucking 5 foot tall. There's no fucking way that's one of her. But they did it in the last one with fucking Amber. She must have been 5 foot, and she's just as fucking tall as Dewey in that fucking kill scene. So it's like, if you look at we went from 9 Ghostface. Technically, There's 5 fucking Ghostface killers in this movie?
Yep. Well, yeah. Only 4 of them do we get to see in.
And one of them didn't get to kill anyone before he was killed, I guess, is the implication, right?
Yeah. Pretty much.
But there's now fucking, what was that, 14? 14 fucking Ghostface. And that's not even counting the TV show.
True story.
Oh my god. How many fucking reasons can you come up with? And this, again, the motive is dumb as fuck in this movie.
Yeah. There needs to be like a good, that's where, so with this movie, I enjoyed the movie a lot. I enjoyed right after the beginning scene up until just before the last of the end of the movie. But I thoroughly enjoyed the whole center portion of the movie. The opening was okay. The end was okay. But everything in between was I loved.
Well, and the killer reveals are typically the worst part of these movies anyway. Like, they're never completely satisfying. I think Jill in part 4 was pretty satisfying for me.
Oh, yeah,
obviously,
sure.
The original.
For sure.
2 is like I said, probably my favorite of all of them. But again, the killers are not necessarily that interesting. 3 is like a brother out of nowhere when you start going, what? It's weird that revenge of some random ass family members that is kind of the thing that's stuck through all these.
And his family.
It's like 4 and 5 are all about 4's got both. 4's got the fandom aspect and the family aspect, which it's always one or the other in these. It's always revenge for some family member, or you're so fucking obsessed with the fandom that they, I don't know. I was kind of, at this point, if they told me Gale was the killer, I'd go, well, at least it's something new. And honestly,
he even brought it up.
Yeah. And that's been a fan theory for a long time. And honestly, I think one of my favorite things in this whole movie is the convo that Gale has with Ghostface. Which I never really thought about it, but I guess this is her first phone call with him.
Yep. She's never had a conversation with him.
I never thought about that, but that is strange.
A long time coming.
And a lot of the dialogue in that call is great. Really good.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even the point about, you would have made a great killer, Gale. There's a lot of good moments in that. There's a lot of dumb ones, too, where that's why I'm going to shoot you in the face. Yeah, bitch, we get it.
I thought it was, I think every scene that she's in is almost perfection. Is she dumb a little bit? Why would you even leave that room? Why would you even leave that room? But she did. And for continuity purposes, but I loved her. The best Gale.
The girl next to me, she goes, oh, damn, I thought she had a safe room. And I was like, that would have been much better, yeah. Gale Weathers, probably with all the money, should have a fucking safe room. She would if she walked in there, hit a fucking button, and was like, can't get me, bitch. I'll see you in Scream 7, motherfucker.
I will say that how they leave off Gale, I was when she makes that comment, tell Sydney that he didn't get me.
You thought she was going to die there?
No, I knew she wasn't going to die. But I'm like, why do you have to say that? Why do you have to say that?
Oh, in that fight scene, tell me if I'm crazy, did she hit him with Sydney's book?
I think it was the Woodsboro murders.
It looked. I only saw it for a quick second, but for me, it looked like Sydney's face on that book from the 4th one, but I couldn't tell.
I'll have to look at that again tomorrow.
Because I was like, oh, that'd be actually pretty funny. Beats fucking Ghost. And you know what? Again, what if Gale had beat one of the fucking Ghostface to death in that scene, and we get an unmasking midway in the movie? Something new. I was hoping. Give me something new. Fuck.
That's what I thought was going to happen. I didn't think they were going to pull like another kind of Dewey moment.
God. Every time
And they did.
I think I'm going to give them credit for something cool about to happen, they go back to the same old shit.
And I hear you on that because I felt the same thing. I thought that was going to be an opportunity for a reveal. And then the other moment I felt, which I thought would have been a nice little twist, is if either to find out Tara or Chad was a killer when they were doing that kissing scene. I was like, "Ooh, one of them." I knew someone's gonna get stabbed. I mean, I was right, but I thought one of them was gonna do the stabbing.
Yeah, but it don't matter. She can get stabbed in the back fucking 8 times and just walks away from it, runs and jumps off balconies, and then she literally gets stabbed in the back.
She jumps onto a knife.
She gets stabbed in the back, is hanging off a fucking balcony, and then gets stabbed in the stomach. It is just fucking okay. It doesn't fucking matter. Chad gets fucking turned into a fucking shish kebab, stabbed fucking 20 times by 2 people.
His face was so intense. I was just like, holy shit. It gave me Jada, Maureen Evans from like when he was getting stabbed. I felt the power of it, like when she was
it was. If he had died there, it would have been, that would have been a perfect out. I think that would have been a great death for him. I would have preferred Mindy to die instead of him, but at that point, I think we already thought she did, right?
No.
Or she was she was getting pulled off this train, that's right, or whatever.
Yeah.
I wish she had died. Again, why does Ghostface has her on the train, dead to rights, stabs her once, and then just leaves? Why does he not finish the job if he wants her dead?
He would have, but she got saved by the bell. The train door opened and everyone was getting off.
Oh, so dumb. So dumb. But yeah, I like the Gale scene. I thought that was good. It is weird that, she just kind of gets attacked and disappears again like 4. Like you never really see her that much again until the end of 4. And this one, you just don't even see her again. They just go, yeah, she's okay. You go, okay. Weird. I like how the new character I did like a lot was the guy across the hall that's kind of fucking Sam.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was kind of, he's got a weird funny charm about him. And I was like, please don't be the killer, because I would like to see this guy again. But it is weird that he's the one who comes in at the end. Yeah, I called the hospital. Mindy and Gail are okay. Who the fuck are you to be calling the fucking hospital?
First of all, how does he even know Mindy's at the hospital?
Right. Is he going to be a killer of 7 now? I was involved too. I was the other son. Like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Or he was part of it. And because that's another part where the cops walk in, they see them right in the center of the room. Do they go to them? No. They go around the whole entire room.
Oh, no well, yeah.
Drawn or anything.
Yeah, the cops pull up at the fucking bodega and rush in. The 2 girls are standing outside bloody as fuck, and they just run right by them into the fucking bodega. Like, how do you know they're not involved, or how do you even know what's happening? Like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, okay, strange.
The news reporter was the worst part of the whole movie.
When they had to get in the exposition about all the Ghostface masks, that shit.
No, the guy that kept on accusing would bring up.
Oh yeah, why was he reporting on fucking like YouTube rumors or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be like? Hey guys, like you know how much you could get fucking sued for that kind of shit? Like you think a reputable news source is gonna be like, let's accuse this woman of being a fucking murderer on our network?
Yeah.
That's fucking billions of dollars in lawsuits waiting to happen.
Right there.
Yeah. Especially when there's been no trial.
It's like, what the fuck? I mean, all her friends are going to sit there and say, yeah, she didn't kill. She's the one that, obviously, she didn't do it, but they're the ones still alive. I mean, it made no sense for her to even be in the movie, to be honest.
Well, and did we even mention that the killers are avenging Richie, like the least interesting fucking killer in the whole franchise?
Of them all, yep.
Like, who gives a fuck about Richie? No, like, he was so fucking stupid.
And he's the least killer. He's the least killer of all the killers. Like, who did he kill? I don't know if anyone killed him.
Yeah, I don't know. I still have issues with the the shit in the beginning of that movie where she's watching a fucking video file and responding in real time. I still don't understand who that fucking could have been in that goddamn scene, but whatever. Doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, overall, I really did like this movie. I am a little critical on it. If you really stop and think about a lot of this shit, you go, what? Again, the killer reveals are dumb as fuck, but they usually are, so I can't be too upset about that, I guess. The cop who becomes the killer, I don't know if I feel better or worse knowing that his shitty acting was on purpose to maybe hide the fact that he's the killer, but I don't know where we go from here. What do you want to see in 7?
More deaths.
Do you hope it's something like Stu coming back or something like that? I mean,
no, God, no. No, he's dead. Stu's long dead. Would I be opposed to him going back? No. What they could have done without this renegade is Billy Loomis, but
I mean, everyone on the internet loves the idea of Stu coming back, and
they want him back. So
I like that they mention it in this. If you think he's dead, or if you believe he's dead,
they have their pulse on the fandom. They definitely do.
Here's your finger far from the pulse, jammed straight up your ass. You know that movie, right?
No, I don't.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh no!
He's like, here's the pulse. Here's your finger far from the pulse, jammed straight up your ass.
I would definitely like there to be more. I would like the killers to be more capable, like they're the form, like whoever the killer is, like they match who should be behind the killer's robe, not a weak person. You can be a girl and be tough and be, but I didn't get her as a killer. I didn't get, because she's the one that attacked Gail. So she took on her big.
Did she say that?
No, you just have to put 2 and 2 together because the boy was the officer, dad, and the brother. They were all together. Ethan was in the van with them, and the dad.
Because he was at the park. Yeah, he was at the park with them. Yeah.
So, and she's quote unquote dead. So I knew from the get go it was. Once she made that comment, it was her. I mean, there was no mystery on that. For me, it was like, why? I was waiting for the why. I knew the reason, who they were. I was just.
Do you think that the dad was even in the costume at all in this movie, or was he just letting the kids do it?
I bet you he was the one with the bodega.
Yeah, it is so funny when you're like, oh, you see the Ghostface, he's fucking people up with no effort, he's fucking badass, and then you're like, it's a fucking child, it's some weak ass little nerdy boy or girl, and this fucking like what? Well, and just all the shit in the theater with the stupid like fan film playing, directed by Richie, like nobody gives a shit, dude. Nobody gives a shit. You killed my son. Well, your son was fucking stupid, so no one cares.
With that, that's where I felt a lot. Like with him standing with that whole backdrop and him standing on the stage, I felt a lot of the opening scene of 2, the revenge part. I felt a lot from Billy's mom, Debbie Salt.
What name was on her robe? Was it Debbie or her real name?
Debbie Salt.
That's what it said?
Well, it could only be Debbie. I mean, they would have made a mistake if it wasn't her real name. I mean, if it wasn't Debbie Salt, because she wore that as Debbie Salt.
But yeah, Laurie Metcalf, of course, from Roseanne.
Love her. I liked her reveal.
I mean, like I said, that was the first one I saw, so the first movie was spoiled for me when I was like, oh, I guess I know who the killer in the first one is. Although if I recall right, they don't ever mention Stu, I don't think, in the second one. So I think that when I watched the first Scream, I knew about Billy, but I don't think I knew about Stu.
Yeah, they don't say anything about Stu until this one.
Even the last movie, they don't really mention it much, do they? Except for Stu's house.
Once in the beginning, and once at the end.
When she's like, "You're in Stu Macher's house. That's where he killed everyone."
Yeah, on IMDb, they only list her as Debbie Salt, and then Mrs. Loomis.
Sometimes the people who put the shit on IMDb get smart, and sometimes they'll put in the wrong thing. You're like, oh, and you can figure shit out.
Because I don't think there's ever a moment in any of the movies where, because Sydney C says Mrs. Loomis, so she could very well have a first name, but
oh, you just wait. Next one's gonna be fucking Billy had a sister. You killed my brother and my mother. Oh, here we fucking go. Yeah, I don't know what I want in the next one. I'm hoping it's just not like, oh, next year again. Here we go. Some same old shit.
I think there's going to be at least 2 years.
We need a time jump at this point.
I think there's going to be at least 2 years. I think I wouldn't mind. I mean, if they're going to go this, like, if they're going to follow and like the next one is going to be like heavily influenced by the third movie, I would like to see like a Parker Posey or, you know, the people that played them in the movies, that juxtaposition of them in real life. I would like to see that. Like remake a part 3 now, if they're just going to keep doing that. Just like show something like maybe they're like show some like a scene from, they're remaking the movies and now they're showing the new cast members for their version of the requel of Stab 8 or Stab 9, whatever it's going to be.
I feel like this movie makes part 5 even more of a hurdle now, because like I almost wish it was more of a standalone, so you could not watch 5 and enjoy this more. But now you need to know 5 so well to enjoy this movie. Mm-hmm. I think I hated 5 already. I think this makes 5 even worse, because now it feels like a hurdle you have to jump over to understand any of this nonsense. But what'd you think of the post-credit scene?
What do you mean?
You didn't watch the post-credit scene?
I left both of them before. I watched where the post-credits, like, I didn't watch their names come up. I normally do, but we were ready to leave the theater.
Yeah, there's a scene after the credits.
Damn it. I guess I'll watch that tomorrow.
It's about 8 seconds long. And it's literally nothing. It's literally Mindy. It's a scene a line that must have been cut from her in the park or something. And she says, "Not every movie needs a post-credit scene."
Oh.
That's it. We sat there the whole fucking credits for that. I was like, God damn it.
Oh.
Everyone in the Facebook group was like, make sure you stay for the post-credit scene. I was like, really, assholes? But yeah, I mean,
was gonna be one. I'm glad I didn't stay for it because there wasn't really one.
Where does the Scream 6 fall in your ranking now?
Probably 4 or 5. So it would go 1, 2, 4, 4, 3, 6, maybe. It's going to be in last place, probably. No, be in 5th place.
You think 5's better than this then?
The beginning of 5 is better. The Judy and Wes is better. I just don't feel like there's enough deaths. I don't feel like there's enough suspense and enough deaths.
I think there's more deaths in this one than most of them, if you count all the random people that fucking killed.
Like, if you count the randoms, yes, but like meaning like where you feel something for people. So if you think about it, only one person. Well, I guess the first girl and. But you don't have any feelings towards her, and then
except that she's hot.
Mindy's girlfriend. Who else?
That poor bitch.
Yeah. She got it.
There are the set pieces in this are really good. The whole theater scene, the ladder scene, the bodega. There's some really good set pieces in this movie. I think way more than 5. Like 5's got a lot of the same set pieces we've seen. The hospital, even Stu's house, like, and everything else is just people in a house again. Like we've seen all that. So I do think that the bringing it to New York helped. But again, even those little set pieces aren't really screaming New York, right? A theater could be anywhere. A ladder between 2 windows could be anywhere. Yeah, the fucking bodega could be any city. But I do think
nice to have some outside. I agree.
Yeah, the fact that he'll just jump you on the goddamn street like a hoodlum and fucking. I did expect like a Times Square or is that supposed to be Central Park they're in? I don't even know. I don't think it is, but maybe it is.
It could. It might have been. No, I think it was just like it's supposed to be like a campus. I did like speaking of that, I did like the Omega Beta Zeta reference.
Yeah. Are you pledging or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun. That was nice.
Which it's not the same city, so.
It's not the same city, but there's pledges.
They have the same sororities at different colleges?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Not all of them, but there's different chapters all over.
I do like that they use Dewey's theme a lot as like a little homage to him. The music cues are really good. There's a lot of familiar. We don't get Red Right Hand though, do we?
Uh-huh.
Where's that in here?
I can't tell you, but it is in there. It might be at the end.
In the credits?
No, before the credits. Demi Lovato has the credits. It's in there because I remember thinking it. I was thinking to myself like, this song has made it into every single one of the movies.
I got a few friends going to see it Saturday. I might go see it again. I'll let it stew for a day or so and decide.
Yeah, I have. When I bought tickets, a couple weeks ago for the 7:00 showing, and then last week I added on a Friday showing, and then I was like, no, I'll get to the Thursday showing. So I still have the Thursday. I had the Thursday showing that I went to first, and then I have one for tomorrow. But I don't know if I'm ready for it just yet.
Like I said, you're the next biggest fan I know. You're like, I'm gonna buy 18 tickets. Yeah. We'll see if I go use them. Fuck it.
How else are we gonna get another sequel? You don't pay.
That's
for
true.
It. We can't get it.
Well, we don't necessarily need one right away there, bud.
I think there's definitely gonna be 2 years before.
As much as I enjoyed this one, I feel like it could only go downhill from here, to be honest. But unless we do get a Sydney back and some non-fucking, you killed my cousin 8 movies ago.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I was thinking like that guy that got tasered. He could be the next killer.
God damn it! I'm gonna tase you in the nuts now.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, I mean, I was just waiting for like, oh, I'm Charlie's brother. You're like, Jesus fucking Christ, I don't care. Nobody cares. Stop it.
See, that's what I thought. Especially with Jill being back, I thought for sure. I thought 2 things. One, that
something would be related to Kirby.
Something would be related to the killers of 4.
Right.
But then knowing that the police officer's last name is Walters, I thought he was going to be Rebecca Walters' father.
Who's Rebecca Walters? Oh, the publicist or whatever?
The publicist, yeah. So I thought possibly I just felt there was going to be more of a connection to 4 than just Kirby, because there was just the masks.
She's only there to be a red herring, really.
Yeah. They could have done that better too, but but she's a police officer, so she can't do shit in those movies.
Well, she'll be put into a doll body pretty soon, so
Probably.
And be fucking around with Chucky.
I'll watch it. I love Hayden Panettiere, so I was happy to have Kirby back, but I was also like, what the fuck? And then I was happy, and then I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and like, again, the one thing I fucking hate in these, like, especially superhero movies is, oh, we killed everyone. Oh, just kidding. The next movie, they're all back alive again. You're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And this movie doesn't even wait till the next movie. Literally in the last, 4 minutes, you find out that half the people who are dead are not dead. You go, what the fuck? What the hell? All of a sudden, Mindy's alive, Chad's alive, Gail's alive. Fucking Kirby jumps up. She just got shot fucking 8 times. No big deal. She's still alive.
Yep.
I'm like, what the fuck is happening here?
Which she was probably wearing a bulletproof vest, and when she got stabbed in the stomach, so she's going in the ambulance. But there's fucking Tara, stabbed 18 times.
Stabbed in the front and the back in the last 10 minutes of the movie. Probably injured somewhere earlier in the film as well. Jesus Christ. And it's like, people always go, how can you not like, superhero movies or wizard and shit when you watch Michael Myers return every movie after he gets his head chopped off? I go, well, for one, that wasn't him. And two, if you just... and I go, two...
That's why.
If you just don't explain it, guess what? I can go along with it. Don't tell me how or why. I'll just go along with it.
I mean, how do you have all these Friday the 13th movies?
Jesus Christ.
They don't ever tell you why.
Sure they do. You spear him in the heart with a metal rod and he gets hit by lightning and comes back to life. Duh.
That's in 4, or that's in 5.
6.
Yeah, 6. That's in 6.
You just have to assume that happens off screen every other time.
Yeah, I guess so. And then she does electrocute him. Well, she substitutes him in 7, and he gets electrocuted in 8. So yeah, I guess.
All right. Well, I enjoyed our dissection here, sir. Anything else to add before I wrap it up? Which I never do, by the way. I never wrap it up.
Well, that's your problem. Have those offspring running around.
I'll be back in Scream 7. You gave me AIDS!
No!
And I'm your cousin for no reason.
Still be about a reveal.
Yep. I think we're on the same page on this one.
Yeah.
I can't believe you liked 5 better, though.
Then this one, I have to watch it. I have to watch it one more time.
I think 5 gets worse every time I watch it. I feel like.
I think it's because I do go. I'm glad this wasn't put in there. I do fall asleep every night to Scream 5.
Every night?
Pretty much, yeah. It was Halloween Kills.
Oh my
it was
God.
Halloween Kills, but I started having
dreams.
I was having these weird. I'd be like sleeping and like, Jamie Lee Curtis didn't say that. Wait, what the fuck? And so I had to stop watching Halloween Kills.
There's something wrong with you, bro.
Also, not only for that, but every single time her boyfriend gets killed, that's when I'd wake up, is like when he's being murdered.
Oh, and the banister and shit?
Yeah. So I had to stop watching it because of that as well. But I've usually, because I like to fall asleep with the TV on, and I like to watch, like when Scream came out, I watched Scream every night before I went to bed. I fell asleep watching Scream.
The original?
Mm-hmm. On VHS.
Wow.
Every night.
Well, that's worse than you wake up to the fucking static on the goddamn TV every night.
And then...
Because the VCR would end, and then it would, like, auto-rewind, and then your fucking TV just going...
And then I had to stop doing Scream 3, because Scream 3 was on DVD, and
the menu?
The horrible menu music would wake me up, and I hated it.
Dude, I remember one time I stayed at my cousin's house, and he had little kids. and I was sleeping in the living room, and they had like their TV on in the bedroom, and whatever like shitty kids movie they were playing for them. I want to say it was like Monster House or some shit. Like they fell asleep, and the menu was loud as fuck. It just kept repeating the fucking like 10-second loop of the menu, and now I'm in the living room. And I'm like, I really want to fucking go in there and turn that fucking thing off. But then here's exactly what would have happened. I would have fucking walked in there and they would have come out in the middle of the night and seen me in their fucking kid's room. And then next thing you know, I'm fucking Uncle Rapey because I can't fucking sleep with this goddamn menu on. I was like, no, I'm not about to get caught in some child's room in the middle of the night.
Uncle Bigwell was in underwear.
Fucking... What were you doing in my kid's room? I was turning the fucking DVD. Yeah, likely story.
In your underwear?
Oh, fuck. I laid there for like 4 fucking hours listening to that fucking loop.
That's dreadful. Just like Scream 3. Opening music.
Honestly, I would... I know exactly what you're talking about. That's funny.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I forgot what I was gonna say now. Oh, I would say it's hard for me to dislike Scream 3 more than these though, because it's got our main core people in it, you know.
Yeah. Parker Posey really does make that movie a lot more enjoyable, and I like the confrontation between Roman and Sydney. Is it the reveal great? No, but I like the confrontation. I like when there's that moment.
The brother shit is what pissed me off. Why has he got to be some fucking random brother? Like, oh, shut the fuck up.
The reveal, I don't care about that. I like the reasons why, and I like to see the fight that goes on between them.
It's just getting harder. It's getting harder to justify my love of this franchise when they just keep. Well, you ever try to explain this series to like a friend, and you're like, so, and then in the second one, it was his mom, and then the fourth one, it was like her cousin. Well, why did her cousin want to kill her? It doesn't matter. And then in the fifth one, it was just some people who like the movies, and then in the sixth one, oh, it was the family of the guy who killed a bunch of people. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's harder and harder to justify it.
They killed more people than he did. He didn't kill anybody. Did Richie kill anyone? Like, if you think about it, I don't.
I would have preferred the cult thing everyone was talking about in this.
I would have too. Actually, so when I told you that I watched the trailer, I started watching the trailer halfway and I stopped. Everything in the trailer I forgot except for the shrine. The shrine obviously sticks out because that's fucking, like, you see that and you're like, oh my god. And that's when I stopped playing the trailer. When you see that, I thought for sure it was a cult.
Well, yeah, and if the shrine is such a cool idea, if it mattered at all to the killers, it's just that's why you think it's gonna be like some legacy thing. Like, it would have made sense if Stu had this shrine. You know what I mean? It doesn't really make sense for these random fucking family, this Richie's family, to have the fucking shrine.
And not only that, the shrine doesn't really do anything to them as well, because none of that stuff means anything to them. Now, if Gail, Dewey, and Sydney stumbled upon that shrine, they'd be like, oh, it'd be like going into like their past, like looking at their past and seeing everything in front of them. For all these people that, like, they don't know that robe that's hanging up there is Milton's robe. Or
no, but Mindy knows that her uncle's shirt's up there from the fucking video store before she was fucking born.
Mm-hmm. you know, nothing in there had any sentimental attachment to really any of them. Kirby's knife, yes.
Yeah, but again, why would they save that knife as this is the knife that stabbed Kirby when they probably killed a bunch of other people with it, and
she didn't even die.
Yeah, she didn't even die. They immortalized the knife in a fucking glass next to a picture of her bloodstain on a patio. Not all the other people that were
with the fucking drag mark, like she dragged herself away.
Was there a drag mark?
There is a drag mark.
Well, that's probably the same knife that fucking gutted
I'm pretty
Olivia.
sure it's a drag mark. The second time I was like, that's a drag mark, is it? I'm pretty sure.
Don't you think that would be like a better fucking use of that knife? Oh, and put it behind glass in the fucking horrific pictures of Olivia's gutting. Because that's probably the same fucking knife. Yeah.
What, that phone that was burnt. Where's that? Is that supposed to be Scream 1? Because
3. I think that's the explosion, the fax machine in 3.
that was a fax machine?
Yeah, there was a fax machine.
I thought it was Casey Becker's old phone that she picks up.
No, that's the fax machine from the third one because it had the lighter next to it when he lights the lighter to read
I
it.
knew the lighter, yeah, I got that part, but I couldn't figure out that's ridiculous. That's what they got to claim from 3.
Yep.
Like, they could have the fax machine. That's a good catch there. Very good catch.
He wasn't in Randy. Like, why do they have his video store shirt? Like, he didn't even die. He didn't even get shot in that or anything. What the fuck?
Nope.
Like,
he just worked there.
He wore it in the one scene that, like, why would that? He wears it when he works in the video store.
I thought he was just wearing a regular T-shirt.
No, I'm pretty sure he's wearing it in the scene with the "everybody's a suspect." Yes. But again, why would that be an evidence? He wasn't wearing it when he was killed or when he was even attacked in the first fucking movie.
Just make him relevant.
Just so she could go, this is Uncle Randy's shirt. It was fucked up.
I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, I liked it, but it's hard for me not to be critical of the nonsense.
I enjoyed it. It was a good movie. It was a good 2 hours. It was fun.
I think it's better than 3 and 5. I'd probably go 2, 1, 4, 6 now. For me.
See, I give 1 so much props because of the beginning and the end.
Oh yeah.
I love pretty much. There's not much except for the officers, of course, in Scream 2. There's the singing scene, which actually I don't mind. I think it just makes it like comforting for like Sydney deserves to have like a guy that's not a serial killer to want her. So that singing scene doesn't really bother me as much as I think it does, but those officers are horrific.
And which one? 2?
In 2, yeah.
Yeah, but that car scene is fucking amazing.
Amazing. Oh yeah.
When the fucking dude gets the fucking thing through his head and then they have to crawl over the fucking dude, that shit was awesome.
Dude, that's where you go. You just get done with Gail doing her chase scene, and then followed by the slowest chase scene ever. Well, escape, I should say.
Dude, that's like one of the most tension-filled scenes in most of the franchise, I think.
I felt that with the car scene with the ladder. Just not as suspenseful. I felt it. And of course you knew. Why did that girl go last again? Just because they wanted her to die? That made no sense. She's the most injured. And Mindy loves her so much, she's going to let her go last to obviously die. You knew she was going to. Why? I don't understand. I was like, oh, surely she will be the first. I mean, well, first of all, she should have died.
Yeah, she got fucking almost gutted, like ripped up. He was lifting the knife and shit.
He literally just slices Mindy's arm. She's on the bed, gushing like rivers of blood, holding her arm like she is about to die, and she is gutted, like gutted. And she's just like, "Oh, say something more positive."
Yeah, honestly, I thought she was gonna, like, they were gonna cut back to the bed and she like maybe bled out on the bed, and that would have been like an interesting moment. But they didn't do that either. Like, every time I think they're about to do something kind of different, because that would have been kind of sad, right? She's sitting there, she's like, "Come on, baby, come on," but she turns back and she's just bleeding out on the bed, dying, like dead. That would have been great.
She's on the ladder, and she's slit open. You know,
Right.
her guts could have came out through the, you know.
Yeah, that would have been fucked up too. You just see him plop out of the fucking alleyway. Like, yeah, that would have been good.
She could have had a stomach prolapse. I mean,
I do like when Ghostface slams the knife into the windowsill, though. I was like, oh, this could be fun.
yeah.